Here's a complete guide to completing the Terminus Easter egg on Black Ops 6 Zombies. This can be completed on solo or co-op, and if you find this guide useful, then be sure to let me know. Jumping straight in, the first thing you're going to want to do is activate Pack-a-Punch by turning on all 3 AMP generators. The first is just in front of the spawn. Go up to this machine, activate it, and then defend it from zombies that spawn until that's complete. Your second one is going to be in living quarters opposite Juggernog, and the third is going to be inside the biolab. All of this is prompted to tell you where to go. Once you've activated and got all 3 machines powered, you'll then want to dive down into the water to lift up the Pack-a-Punch platform, and then we can move on to the first step of the Easter egg. Now, the very first step of the Easter egg involves you getting this map's wonder weapon, the Beam Smasher. Now, there are 2 methods in order to get this wonder weapon. The first is through a quest that I'm going to show you now, but if you have the Gobblegum Wonder Bar, you can completely bypass this part of the Easter egg guide as you have the chance to get it out the mystery box straight away. So for the first step towards getting the Beam Smasher, you'll first need to acquire the Dead Wire Ammo mod from the Arsenal machine. Once you have that, make your way to the inclined lift where it's above ground and call it below to the biolab. Whilst it's moving, you'll notice in a window there will be a electrical box that once you shoot, will move the electrical current to the right of the wall and then to this box right behind. Once you've zapped all 3, make your way into living quarters and shoot this box above the second generator, and then run outside and shoot this box here, and it should open the doors into the research office. Take down this zombie and it will drop an EMF fob item, and inside this room is going to be the buildable bench where we are going to acquire the Beam Smasher. But in order to do that, we of course need to get some parts. We now need to go to 3 areas around the map labeled X, Y, and Z and interact with 3 laptops. So the first is this laptop here with X, and this is right below the C tower, so you always want to start with X first. You'll then want to run up the side of storage area, and right up here you're going to find the laptop for Y, which is just outside spawn to the right side, so interact with that laptop, turn that on. And the last laptop, Z, is going to be in communications, which is just past the control center, so interact with that, activating that laptop. And once that's done, make your way into the C tower and interact with this briefcase, which is going to open and reveal a multiphasic resonator item. So pick that up and then immediately turn around into engineering and pick up this battery that is going to be on this desk here. Once you've got both items, return into the research office and interact with this computer here. You'll notice the part will appear on top of the computer. If you hold your interact button, you'll now interact with the computer with 3 sticky notes labeled XYZ, as well as D-pad inputs for you to put in a 6-digit code. Now, there is some maths required here with a whiteboard, but you can completely bypass any actual calculations by going back to the spawn room, and where Dr. Peck is behind a window, you can bribe him for 5,000 points and it will display the exact code on a computer monitor to the left. This code changes every single game, so put in the correct code and you'll now see the computer display a bunch of different areas around the main map where it's going to point out a certain island that you're going to need to travel to. Now, in order for it to tell you where you need to go to the next round, where you'll see the computer will stop, marking a island on the map, which you can then bring up your TAC map to look at and match to where you need to go. But before you leave the room, make sure to pick up the multiphasic resonator on top of the computer. You'll want to take a tactical raft and make your way to the island that was marked, and when you get near it, you should see a blue orb on the island, and you want to go ahead and interact with it, and it will place down that resonator part under the orb. Now, to complete this step, a load of zombies are going to spawn, but one in particular is going to be smoking a blue color. Once you take it out, it's going to drop an orb that you'll have to hold your interact button to pick up as an orb that is imbued within your hands, and then you want to walk up to the much larger orb to place that orb inside. You're going to need to repeat this 2 to 3 times, and eventually you'll see the orb will disappear, flowing over to another island. Before leaving the island, make sure you pick up that resonator part, as you won't be able to complete the next part of this Easter egg without picking that part up. The orb will have moved onto another island, and for us it was Crab Island, and this time it's going to be a green orb instead of a blue orb. Walk up to that orb and press your interact button to place the resonator down, and you'll be repeating the exact same step where this big green orb is going to choose a specific zombie to turn into a green misted zombie that you're going to need to take out. Walk up to the green orb, hold your interact to pick it up, and then bring it back to the orb and repeat 2 to 3 times. The orb is going to move to another island, so again, pick up that multiphasic resonator and make your way onto another island, which for us was Temple Island, and you're now going to see a purple orb. Again, place the resonator down underneath it, and then when the purple orb shoots its laser towards a zombie, take it out, pick up that purple orb, and bring it over to that orb and repeat 2 to 3 times. Once complete, your screen will flash white, and you'll now have the AMP munition part to pick up, and that is all 3 parts required to build the Beam Smasher wonder weapon. So make your way back into the research office and then go ahead at the workbench, interact to build the Beam Smasher. Now you've got that, we can actually move on to the first step of the main Easter egg quest. Before you can even attempt the Easter egg step, you need to have the Beam Smasher Pack-a-Punch to level 1. So make sure you've got 5,000 points spare so you can get it Pack-a-Punched. Once Pack-a-Punched, we're going to be looking at one of 3 tentacle trap locations around the map, where one is specifically going to have a key card lying directly underneath it. So in our game, in the Biolab on the left side, we can see that this Janus key card is there, which means this is a location for this Easter egg step to work. So what you want to do is you want to buy the tentacle trap, and then whilst it's on, you want to use the right trigger of the Beam Smasher and laser the trap, and eventually it is going to drop a hard drive item. Go ahead and pick that up. And like I said, there are 2 other tentacle trap spawns. Another is within the Biolab on this door here, and again, you're specifically looking for the one that has a Project Janus key card on the ground to know that is the one you need to use. And the third trap location can be here in the rec yard into where the Juggernog machine is. Once you've got on the hard drive, make your way back to the spawn at the guard station, and you'll be able to insert the hard drive into this little deposit box for Dr. Peck. You'll mention about a specimen being held in a holding tank in the Biolab, but in order to unlock him, we're going to need to get a 3-digit code from 3 areas around the map. To get the first digit of your code, make your way to the interrogation rooms and look outside at this clock. Now, what you're specifically looking for is where the hour hand is. So in our game, if we zoom in, you can see that the time is roughly about 4:23, which means if we're looking at the hour only, the number we can get for the first part of our code is going to be from that hour hand, and in our game it is 4, so our first number is 4. To get your second code, you're going to make your way into the mess hall and look at this display here, and there's going to be a playing card that will be a specific number. So for us, it had a 2 in it, so we know that the second number in our code is 2, so it's 42. Then finally, if you make your way to engineering, look at this poster that says safety first, days since last injury, and there'll be a number on it, and that is the third part of your code. So for our code, we have the numbers 4, 2, and 3. Now, inputting this code is going to start a little bit of a lockdown with a very powerful Amalgam Elite boss, so just make sure you're prepared for this. There will be a ton of sprinting zombies as well as this Amalgam to take out. When you have your code and you're ready, make your way to the Biolab to this central tank here and interact with this keypad. This will bring a character to life called Nathan, and once he's finished talking, you'll be able to interact with the keypad and enter the code. This code will change every single game, but for us, it was 423. If put in successfully, you will see unlocked written on the keypad. Now, in order to start this step, if you're playing in co-op, all players need to hold square or interact on one of these levers all at the same time. So a countdown over voice chat will be the easiest way to sync this up, and when you've done this correctly, you'll initiate a lockdown in the Biolab where you're now going to have to take out a super strong Amalgam, which is this Nathan character. As mentioned, depending how early in the game you're doing this and how geared up you are, this would either be a breeze or slightly difficult, as you do get a ton of sprinting zombies as well. So just be very careful. Continue to run around this in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction where all players are coordinated so that you don't run into each other and run into hordes of zombies. Once Nathan's health has gone down to 0, you'll get an in-game cutscene cinematic, and that will be the first half of the Easter egg complete. Once the cutscene ends, you're going to dive into the water in the Biolab, and you're going to be looking for a gold key card, which will be lying on the ground somewhere. So once you've picked that up, you'll be initiating another small lockdown. So it's highly advisable to get perks and Pack-a-Punch so that you're in a really good setup. But when ready, summon a tactical raft and make your way over to the massive shipwreck off to the side of the map and make your way underneath it, where if you climb up this ladder, this hatch will reveal itself and you'll have 2 node connectors to pick up. Once you pick those up, you'll be locked inside of this workshop for a certain amount of time where you're just going to need to slay the undead. And if playing in co-op, as you see here, it's advised that one player takes 1 window each because there's 4 windows. That way you can just efficiently take out any zombies that are near. Once the lockdown is complete, you'll get a max ammo, and the hatch will now be available for you to go back into the water. Now that we have the 2 node connectors, our next task is going to be to fit these in 2 pieces of pipe that are missing around the map. There are 3 locations for this, so be sure to check these every game, starting off with the one closest from the shipwreck. This is going to be on Crab Island, and it's going to be this piping here, but as you can see in our game, this one was connected, so we knew that wasn't our location. But in your game, that might be one where you can slot one of these node connectors in. Another location for the pipes is going to be right underneath the sea tower right by the docks, and as you can see here, there is a visible gap in the piping, so my friend here is going to place it, and it starts a sort of crafting animation where you need to be protected for a few moments if there's any zombies around whilst you're doing this. And the third and final location is going to be in the sea caves towards towards the right side, where in our game, we had another missing bit of pipe here. So going to hold my interact to repair that pipe, and that's going to be that step complete. Once Sam has finished her dialogue, make your way to the guard station and you'll be able to pick up a new gold item called the hacking device. Now, our task with the hacking device is we need to get a tactical raft and go out in the sea towards 3 different buoys that have satellites on top of them. So if you start here at the docks by calling the raft, you want to immediately take a left and go past Crab Island all the way to the back of the map here, where you'll notice a buoy with a satellite on it. And once you get close enough, hold your interact button and your character will bring out a laptop. But once you've held and completed the hacking, you'll see you'll now have a prompt to complete this step within the next 2 minutes. So we need to repeat this for 2 other buoys with satellites. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way back past Crab Island, moving towards the shipwreck, and you'll see a second buoy with a satellite where if you get close enough, you'll be able to interact and hack that one. And for the third and final one, you want to make your way past the shipwreck and continue going straight north, going past another island until you reach this buoy. Go up to it, hold your interact to bring out the hacking laptop, and once that's hacked, the step will be complete. You should get a white flash on your screen and will immediately be pushed to the next round. At this point in your tactical raft, you want to make your way further around and then through this tunnel to make your way back into the biolabs. As the next step involves a fake self-destruct within the biolab, where if you don't complete this step within 5 minutes, then the game is going to end and the map is going to blow up. I'm not joking. Now, on the bottom floor of the biolab and upstairs, there's going to be 3 different doors that will each have a device that appears, and you're going to want to simply hold your interact button to defuse. The first one is going to be to the left here that you're seeing me do right now. Once that's diffused, make your way to the other side of the same part of the under of the biolabs, and you'll see there'll be another one for you to defuse right here. Once that's diffused, make your way upstairs to the second floor of the biolab and make your way to this area here, which is directly above the Melee Macchiato perk. Once you've diffused all 3 successfully, you'll get a flash on your screen, and at this point, you can activate the boss fight at any time. But I highly recommend you spend the next few rounds making sure that both of your weapons are as upgraded as they possibly can be, with tier 3 Pack-a-Punch and legendary rarity. I also highly recommend you spend this time as well getting enough salvage to get a self-revive kit, as well as a score streak like the Chopper Gunner, as it will make certain parts of the boss fight so much easier. If you've created separate Gobblegum packs for different stages of the Easter egg, now is a great time to switch to your boss fight pack if you've created one. Spend the next 3 rounds making sure that you have 3 Gobblegums ready to activate when you are boss fight ready. But when everyone in your game is ready, make your way to this door in the biolab, and there'll be a prompt to receive the guest. Start the final encounter. If you're playing in co-op, everyone's going to have to vote to initiate this boss fight, and after an incredible entrance by the Kraken boss, the boss fight will begin, and there are 3 phases. But breaking this boss fight down, you have 2 elements to the boss fight. You have the boss itself, Patient 13, then you also have a series of tentacles all around the arena, which will be constantly firing projectiles at you. Your main aim is to be shooting the boss in its critical weak points, which are marked by big red spores on the sides of its body, and the boss will be repeatedly moving around the arena, being in the middle, being to the left, to the right, being at the front. And your role, whether you're in solo or in co-op, is to be constantly running a clockwise or anti-clockwise train of zombies to be constantly firing at the boss during its weak points, as well as taking out the tentacles in the background if they're causing you a ton of damage. Whichever direction the boss is facing on what side of the arena is going to dictate a slam attack as well as a sort of swipe attack that he does. So if you're in that vicinity, there's a chance that you can get insta-downed by that. So just make sure you are very aware and not present to be affected by that attacks. But once you've done enough damage to him in the first phase, he is going to disappear and you're going to want to take out the remaining tentacles. Once the tentacles has been taken out, you will see that the boss health will reappear and the boss will have respawned. This moves us on to phase 2, where the new hit spot for the boss is going to be directly in his mouth to the bottom of his body. During this phase, the tentacles around the map are going to get more vicious in their projectiles, and you're also going to have a ton of zombies as well as some elite zombies like Manglers, which at any point along with the boss itself can swipe you and throw you into the water, which if it does, you'll be able to mantle and climb back up through the various ladders that are situated around the arena. It's during this first and second phase of the boss fight where using score streaks like the Chopper Gunner are super effective for doing a lot of damage. During this second phase, if the boss makes his way to the middle of the arena, if you aren't careful and land in the water near it, you could immediately go down, so just pay close attention. If the boss is facing you head on here, you can use these boxes as cover to completely avoid his swipe attack and continue to do more damage. But if anytime you need to quickly dip into the water, you absolutely can. It's a great safety mechanism during the first 2 phases at least, but be careful as a lot of the ladders have a ton of zombies just standing around, waiting for you to climb up. Once you've done enough damage to the main boss, his new criticals will be tentacle spots on the left and right side. To continue to focus on those and also continue to get rid of any of those tentacles in the back of the boss fight if they are causing too much damage. But your main focus throughout should be to take down the main boss itself. Once you've managed to damage the boss enough, his health bar will disappear yet again, and you'll need to go ahead and take out all the remaining tentacles. During this, you're likely to have at least 1 amalgam spawning in, as well as a ton of zombies, so be very, very careful, and this will move us on to the 3rd and final phase. During this phase, the boss is actually going to restrict the actual playable area, so it's going to split off into halves, where the only way you can make your way to one side or another side is to actually dip into the water and use ladders. During this phase, the boss also has a wipe mechanic where it emits a bunch of blue smoke and particles on your screen, and you want to hide behind any of these boxes in the front of the boss room in order to completely avoid them. Once he's done that wipe phase, just put as much damage into his eyes as possible, and if you have a gobblegum like Idolize, this is absolutely perfect to use because none of the zombies are going to be attracted to you. You can just put tons of damage into the boss as you see us do here. Obviously, if you don't have an Idolize, you're just going to have to train around and be very, very careful to avoid those wipe attacks and get damage in when you can. But once his health goes down to 0, you will have eliminated the boss and completed the Terminus Easter egg. Once you finish the cutscene, you'll be given an option to continue playing or to exit, and if you continue playing, you'll be rewarded a Perkaholic, as well as a ton of legendary weapons, including the ray gun, a bunch of points, as well as some pap crystals. And when you head back to the menu, you'll have unlocked a special outfit for the character Maya that you only get by beating this Easter egg, and inside the calling cards, you'll also unlocked a calling card for beating this map's Easter egg, and if you've done it before the guided modes come out, you'll have gotten a bonus calling card as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found this guide useful and informative and extremely detailed. If so, drop this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. If you want to team up with anyone to help with this Easter egg, put your Activision IDs down below. But if you want to complete the Liberty Falls Easter egg, I've got a full guide for you on your screen right now.